Morning, folks. Welcome back to the Agent Box, Thursday, 11 o'clock, live coming to you from the UK. Thanks very much for tuning in. My name is Sham Ghani, and with me today is
This is
Abir.
the
How
bit.
you doing, man?
Just a bit. No co-host, no co-star, no
Don't need
adjectives,
any of that,
no
man.
adverbs, no nothing.
We don't need that. Nobody needs that, to be honest. Hey, listen, man, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
It's been all right. A busy week, business end of the year. So I guess all our friends who are watching are busy as well. It's just that time of the year.
Yeah, that's probably true. Everybody's plowing their fields real hard, man, at the moment, I think.
Well, if you are not busy at this time of the year, you are doing something wrong.
No, but do you know what? I've been talking to some university partners this week and some agents as well, and it looks like it's going to be a very, very lean harvest this year for a lot of people. I think there's still plenty of business in the market. There's still plenty of students, but because we've got a lot of universities competing for those students, we've got a lot of agents competing for those students. I think everybody's feeling the pinch. In fact, this morning, one of the guys that I know really well, he was mentioning to me that in his market, numbers are 80% down, and that's one of the big markets for the UK. 80, he said 60% down overall across all the destination markets. Specifically for the UK, he was talking about an 80% drop.
Well, because I think a lot of people are just sitting back and like watching the space, like what
This
is
is
happening.
what I was asking him. This is what I tried to get some insight into is, look, what is it? Have people just changed their minds, decided that they're never going to go overseas again? He said, no. What it is that people are waiting and watching. And you know what? That kind of doesn't surprise me a little bit. I've seen it happen before, where whenever you have a trough, before there is a peak that's going to come. Do you know what I mean? And people generally just kind of like want to sit it out, see what's going on, and then make decisions. And that could be because of political, financial, all sorts of different reasons. I think for the UK, we know we've covered this before here on the show anyway, as to what the main factors are that's causing the kind of issues for the applications sort of drying up. Partner universities are telling me, I mean, that they've got decent numbers of offers, but they're not converting. The deposits aren't coming through at the moment. So I think people are feeling, kind of like, okay, we're going to wait and see. I think, guys, anybody watching this who's not aware that, in the next couple of weeks, we have an election coming up, a general election. So that means for here in the UK, we're likely to have a change of government. And it looks like, the current government is going to be kicked out quite spectacularly, if the polls are to be listened to. But yeah, I think it's July the 4th, we've got the election. So we'll find out, on July the 5th. But I think, and I've said this before on this show, that I'm not convinced that the student, kind of international student question is going to change dramatically overnight. I think there are some pressures on any government coming in to consider immigration. And unfortunately, and I genuinely believe this is an unfortunate reality, that students are considered in that immigration question. And I think absolutely they shouldn't be. And I know that there's been organizations up and down the country here in the UK, including the universities, that have lobbied government time and time again. And to be honest, the Tory government over the last 14 years, we've been lobbying them hard to get rid of students from that immigration question. And think of students as a separate group of people that are coming here to study, and they're contributing, they're paying massive fees, they're contributing, and by and large, most people are going back home, to take up decent jobs, or they're going somewhere else. They're going, Britain, not, we don't live in the 1700s or the 1800s where Britain was one of the most, sort of influential countries in the world. We live in a world today where you can earn a lot more money working in different parts of the world. You can have a much better lifestyle. And I think a lot of people have really good standard of living in their own home country. They just come over.
The sun sets in British Empire now.
Hey, look, for sure. There's no doubt in my mind about that, But, I mean, we know this. You go to India, you go to Pakistan, Bangladesh, you go to Nigeria. There's a lot of people that have very, very high standards of living. And a lot of the students that come here, they want to study, they want to get a couple of years work experience, and then they want to go home. And I've talked about this before privately and publicly as well, that a lot of genuine students, they end up going back because they have responsibilities on family. They have expectations that they're going to get married, they're going to have families of their own, and they can't do that while they're here. Do you understand? And it's a bit like, Abir, well, you've talked about your own experiences yourself. You came here as a young man, studied, went back home, started a life, and it just so happens that you're back now under different circumstances.
Yeah.
So, um, anyways, today's topic, we're talking about the agent quality framework. That's what we want to talk about. And in fact,
What is it? Do you eat
well,
it? Do you wear it?
before we come on to that, right? Yeah, agent quality, doesn't really matter, right? This is something that a lot of us have heard about. A lot of us may not have heard about this. But over the next several weeks, we're going to be talking about this issue, okay? Agent quality framework. But today is just like a bit of context setting, a bit of an opener. If you've never heard of it, Abir, what do you think it is, man? What do you know about the agent quality framework?
It could be anything.
He's fair. I know he knows. But look, I mean, there's yeah, in a nutshell, right? The agent quality framework is a framework. It is a set of guidelines that some people have created, by which agents and sub-agents need to run their business. So the question for everybody, and for myself included, was, well, who came up with this, right?
Yeah.
Who's actually come up with this agent quality framework? Where did this? Because I didn't write it. Did you?
I know we have discussed this in detail for our research and whatnot, but for our friends out there, if you could just enlighten us, like, where did it come from? When was this incepted, and why was it in place?
Well, I think without going into it too far and without it almost overwhelming people, or making it almost irrelevant, right? What in a nutshell, I think, or anybody who's an agent, right, who is in the business of recruiting students, and they have contracts with universities, or they have contracts with platforms, aggregators, and through those platforms, they're sending students to the UK. Anybody involved in that business needs to understand four organizations that exist in the UK. All right. There are four very distinct organizations that are very active and powerful and have the government's ear when it comes to international student recruitment. Okay. These are people that are on advisory groups with the government, whether that be with the Ministry of Education, whether that be with the UKVI, Home Office policy groups. These four organizations are involved in every aspect of that. Okay. Now, who are these four organizations? Well, you have one which I think a lot of us know about, which is the British Council. The British Council is the government's education, international education kind of partner. They run English language tests and stuff like that. So the British Council, it oversees, when I go to different countries around the world, I see the British Council simply as an education provider, that they do English language testing. That's it. But actually, the British Council is far more influential than that. And what they do here in the UK is they continuously talk to government. Okay. With the British Council, you have an organization which a lot of us might know about, which is called BUILA, which is the British University International Liaison Association. What that is that is an association of pretty much every university here in the UK that has an international office. They are members of this organization association called BUILA. So you got the British Council and the BUILA. There are two other.
Do anything? I always thought Buila is just for like gathering around and having a couple of drinks.
No. BUILA is far more influential than that, and far more involved than just having some conferences and parties and stuff like that. They are the voice of the university international teams. Okay. And there are two other organizations that probably a lot of us don't know about, right? One is called UKISA. Now, I know my colleagues in the UK university sector, they'll be going, what do you mean? How can you not know what UKISA is? Everybody in the British university sectors know who UKISA is. I'm talking to my agent colleagues out in various markets around the world. they may not know that. It's UKCISA, right? UKISA
The
is
UK Council for International Student Affairs.
exactly. So this is almost like a government quango. It's an independent body, but it is connected to government. It is a kind of like a government body, if you like. That's probably the easiest way to explain who they are. And they have lots of members. They are again the voice of students, the voice of international students. They're very interested in what's going on with international student recruitment, and they work.
For me, it was great help for me personally as an agent, because when I came up with any complicated case or any visa regulations that I was not quite certain about, I always had that guidance from UVisa, and they have like in-depth case studies as well, that where you can study
It could be, yeah. So I mean, there's probably a lot of people out there that know who they are, a lot of agents who know who they are, but I also suspect there's a lot of agents that don't know who UKISA is. But UKISA work very, very closely with the British Council and with Boiler. And there is another organization, right, which is Universities UK. Now, Universities UK has grown out of has evolved from essentially a vice chancellor's group back in the around about 1913, 1914. British University vice chancellors, they had a group, and they are, they're non-political appointees. I hope we know that in British universities, the vice chancellor is not a political appointee, but they are influential because they run massive organizations, massive institutions, and they have come together and they have a voice with the government. So Universities UK, you know what I mean? It's called UKI, or that's the international part of it. UKISA, British Council, and Boiler, they all work collectively. They work together. And to cut a very, very long, complicated story short, right? It's enough for the sake of this 20-minute show for us to understand that these four organizations are behind the agent quality framework.
Oh.
Okay.
And did you just come together and came up with it one fine morning?
No. It was no. In 2012, in fact, 2012. I mean, this is turning out into a history lesson. It wasn't meant to be, but in 2012, in fact, the UK government, the Australians, the Canadians, the Kiwis, and I think the Americans. I can't remember. Or certainly the Irish came together in London, right, to discuss how universities should work with agents. Now, they think about it. That's quite an important thing. We think of ourselves as agents as just, oh, I'm in business. I'm based in Bangalore. Or I'm based in Nairobi, or I'm based in Dhaka, or wherever it might be, and I'm just interested in getting students, and I have contracts, and I'm sending stuff, students overseas. In actual fact, there are lots of other people who are talking about you that you don't know about. Do you know what
And
I
you
mean?
know
Like,
what this is telling me, because we are talking about AQF, and in the generic understanding is, oh, this is just for UK. If I recruit students for UK, I
no,
have to follow the AQF.
no,
But
this
what
is
you are
this,
telling
this
us
is an
right now,
international. Yeah, this is an international thing that people share information. Let me tell you that. Just like the UKVI shares information with the Americans, with the Canadians, with the Australians, with the Kiwis, this kind of sharing of information also happens. Okay, where all of these countries came together in London and created a set of rules about how they agree to work with agents. Okay. And that was in 2012. The agent quality framework has evolved from that London statement. They call it the London statement. Okay. That London statement basically has now the four organizations that I talked about specifically for the UK, they have come up with the agent quality framework. And let me tell you something, guys. I've gone through that agent quality framework in a lot of detail for a lot of different reasons. Um, and it is frightening, okay, to think whether or not as an agent I can actually fulfill every one of those criteria that has been set out in the agent quality framework. But the
you know
question,
while I was reading the AQF, I was thinking like, oh, let's shut the business down. Let's go for a margin delivery.
Yes, it's not, and you know what? Look, let's not forget, right? So this has been around since 2022, right? The AQF was signed up in 2022, and I think, from what I understand, 140 universities have signed up to this quality framework. So these 140 universities have said to the four organizations, and in many ways to the UK government, yes, we accept this quality framework. We are going to work by that quality framework. And there are three documents that are embedded on top of the agent quality framework. One is how students need to view agents. Another one is how universities obviously need to work with agents, but also how agents need to view their partner universities. Again, these documents are publicly available. I would definitely hope that agents are downloading those and understanding and digesting what's going on. The question today, why are we talking about this today? And we're asking the question, does it really matter? Because the agent quality framework is now getting serious. It always was serious. It always was a very serious issue, but it was a serious issue that didn't immediately or directly kind of affect the agents out there. Okay. But my belief is that it is about to get a whole lot more serious for agents. And agents who don't know what the AQF is, they don't care about the AQF. And I use that word care about the AQF, very carefully, because when you read the AQF, right, a lot of it, you might think as an agent, well, this is all nonsense. This is all bureaucracy. Okay. And I'm in the business of making money. I want to, get as many students through the door as I can. I've got targets to meet. I've got, stuff that I need to do. I can't be bothered with all of this bureaucracy. It could be viewed like that. I hope nobody does, but I'm thinking it could. That is a dangerous thought process.
And AQF is getting serious just because of that thought.
Exactly. It's because in the last 2 years, this framework has existed for the last 2 years. And I know agents, right? Because I've worked with them when I was working at the universities, that there are agents out there who have taken the AQF very seriously. Okay. And right from the very beginning, they've taken it very seriously, and they have organized their companies and themselves completely in line with the AQF. Now, where does that leave the rest of us? That's the question. Because from the university's point of view, there are a group of agents that are great, perfect. Absolutely. Yes, this is exactly the kind of agent I want to work with. And then they look to the other direction, and then they see this whole mess of agents out there who probably don't know anything about what's going on here. Okay.
But to make our agent colleagues' life easier and convenient, if you don't have the time to go to the AQF and what it talks about, just watch our podcast. That's what we talk about every day.
Because we are going to unpick the AQF a little bit, okay? Because there are some serious issues. Look, what I'm finding out, when I talk to a lot of agents, everybody's very busy and very concerned about doing the British Council training. Why? Because it gives them a ticket. It gives them a ticket. It gives them a certificate. It's something they can put on the wall. It's something that they can talk about. And perhaps at some level, they kind of feel that they're missing out. Now that the British Council agent training is free, there's a lot of people going out there. And I think so far there's about 9,000 agents that have taken that training, okay, that are certified by the British Council.
It's one thing of getting the certificate, and one thing is adhering to what you are studying.
This is my issue, man. This is my issue. That I went on the training. My boss gave me a couple of hours to go do this training, and I did it and I passed it. Hey, look at me, wonderful. Do you know what I mean? I've got my certificate, and now we can say our agency is trained, British Council trained, because the AQF is linked to that British Council training, right? So everything is great. How much of that did we actually implement in our company? How much of that did we implement? And let me tell you something, guys. The UKVI or the UK government is starting to put some pressure on this issue of universities being able to prove that their agents are implementing the agent quality framework. Now, this is serious. And I tell you what, both Ucho and I, or Abir and I, were at a roundtable discussion last Friday where we had 9 universities in the room. And what we talked about was AQF. Okay. We talked about it in a different context, but we talked about AQF. And I can tell you, there are members in that roundtable who are actively involved in Boiler, actively involved with other organizations, some of the organizations that I've talked about. And these guys, when they talk about AQF, they do not talk about it lightly. They do not talk about it, it's okay, do what you can. They are looking at this thinking, my God, this is so serious.
Because
Okay.
it's their license on the line right now.
Yeah, because they are progressively being pushed into a corner where they will have to prove that their agents, because they're the people that have signed up these agents, that these agents are now adhering to that quality framework. Whether you are British Council trained or not is wholly irrelevant. You know what I mean? In terms of, oh, no, but I'm trained and therefore I should be okay. No, 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 no. That is not going to cut it. That, yes, you've done the training. Good. That's good news. But are you adhering to the AQF? Right. And this is something that when universities are put under pressure, that pressure is going to come onto our shoulders. And it's whether or not. And you know what? Look, I'm conscious that time's way running too fast today. But I am conscious of the fact that, platforms where they're working with sub-agents or agencies that have a big sub-agency network, this is going to be the pinch point. This is going to be the pinch point because as a sub-agent, a lot of people who work in sub-agencies, they kind of feel, well, my job, what's my job? Is just to bring a student through. I don't have a contract. I don't have any obligation. I don't have any kind of relationship. It's up to the aggregator or the platform, whoever it is that I'm working with. Therefore, none of this matters to me. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Okay. Because the UKVI, the British government, the Home Office is addressing the issue of sub-agents. And that scares me a little bit. That
And you are
up to now, in my career, nobody's been talking at that level. No one's talked about sub-agents. And all of a sudden now they're saying, hey, look, we know you've got
to
sub-agents.
be honest, few years back, sub-agency was a taboo word. It was a slang word.
Yeah,
You could not
absolutely.
utter that.
Yeah. But for them to be talking about this is something that says to me, okay, they're coming after. And if you listen to what the government's saying. James cleverly, he said he's going to smash, sort of rogue agents. He's going to smash, and let's define in his mind what is a rogue agent. You understand? That's something that we don't know. The fact of the matter is they're coming after agents and they're coming after sub-agents. And the way to weather that storm is to know and understand what the AQF is. So to answer the question of the title today, does it really matter? Absolutely, it matters. Okay. And if anybody listening to
One
this,
thing matters in the whole wide world right now, in the agency business, it is what it is.
absolutely, because this is going to become, it's like a runaway train. This is like a runaway train. You're not going to be able to stop this. And I don't think a Labour government coming in is going to make a blind bit of difference. In fact, the Labour government probably on this issue is going to 100% follow on from what the Tories have been doing. Because
And
it
especially what
appears,
we are reading in the past few days, we were having a chat yesterday in the office about what the Labour leader told the Sun.
yeah, absolutely. He is going to deal with immigration. And when and I don't believe he's going to separate international students out from immigration. I don't think he's going to do that because he's going to win this election by talking about this sort of stuff, and he's going to be then expected to deliver on it. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, guys, look, I mean, we're 25 minutes in. I mean, this is a very important topic, and I'm hoping that anybody listening to this is going to think, okay, let me go do some homework on what this agent quality framework is. But rest assured that over the next several weeks, we are going to be unpicking some of the key sort of areas from that AQF to try and give you guys a bit of a flavor of what it is that, quite frankly, your partners expect you to do. Okay. And that's pretty much it. You understand that your partners have set up a set of rules and they didn't impose those rules on you. They basically said, okay, here these rules exist. Please go and have a look at them. Okay. But all of a sudden now the government's saying to your partner, no, you now need to adhere to these rules. So that then makes those rules become a bind if you don't know what they are, and if you can't bring your business in line with that. But listen, guys, we're going to run out of time. So we've answered the question. That's good enough for me. And I have to say this, hey, well, the Agent Box comes to you live every Thursday from the UK at 11 o'clock. And we're able to do this because we're sponsored by Sam CRM. Sam CRM is a CRM system designed for recruitment agents. And in fact, it's been designed by recruitment agents as well. They've got their email down at the bottom, sales@samcrm.co.uk. Get in touch with these guys and they'll set up a free demo for you. And they also have trial, try before you buy models. But also, guys, look, we're going to have to leave it there today. But, head over to our website as well, which is theagentbox.co.uk. We have an email address and we also have a phone number that you can get in touch with us. It's as if by magic the producer knows what I'm talking about. Get in touch with us. Let's unpack this AQF together. If there's anything that you guys, somebody who's gone through it with a fine-tooth comb, and you've got some comments, you've got some queries, questions, or you want to, be part of that conversation live on air, get in touch with us, and we'll bring you into the studio, and you can you can be part of that conversation. But this is a very important issue. It's a very important topic. It is very important to us. It's extremely relevant right now. So my, encouragement to you guys is go do some research, figure it out, but stay tuned to the Agent Box because we're going to be coming to you every Thursday talking about some aspect of the AQF. That's it from me. My name is Sham. And as always, Zabir.
Read my lips. Stay tuned to the Agent Box to learn more about AQF.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Listen, guys, take care of yourselves. Have a really good week. Enjoy whatever you're doing. Don't work too hard. Weekend's coming up. Make sure you have some downtime as well. But we will see you guys same time, same place next week.
Yeah, happy recruiting.